Howdy, y'all. Pastor Josh Canepa here with our weekly update. Wanted to update you on hurricane stuff and how we have come out of that. We did have some minor damage to the church. We had some shingles blow off the roof. We did lose the old sign out in front of the church as well. We had one of our flagpoles go down. Those are the main things that have happened. We were out of power for a period of time, but we're working on that other stuff. Power is restored, and so we will have worship this Sunday and continue forward with that and work on the problems that we have identified that are there. I would encourage you, if you are in need of help or assistance and there's something that the church can do to help you, please notify your elder or call us here at the church, and we will do the best we can to reach out to you and give that help where it is needed. We're very thankful that God has brought us through this and sustained us through the storm as He does, and so we continue to thank Him for His grace and for His mercy. So I want to talk to you this week in a little different format than what I usually do, but this month is the 70th anniversary of the publication of The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe by C.S. Lewis. And so, as you know, C.S. Lewis, I quote him a lot in my preaching. He's one of my favorite theologians, kind of my favorite, probably modern theologian, we might say. I have studied his work for a long time. I think the first time I read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, I believe I was in 5th grade, and probably could have started even earlier than that. But then my first exposure to his writing is in that fiction fantasy genre, but then his nonfiction, he is known just as well for it. When I was in college, I took a class on C.S. Lewis writings, and then at seminary also I took a C.S. Lewis class and was just able to get immersed in his world and learn some things about him and learn some things with that. So I did want to share with you, I recently purchased this, but this is what do you want to call it? The full color collector's edition of the Chronicles of Narnia. And so there's a number of different box sets that are available. This is probably one of the more expensive ones. But what it has is the original illustrations from the original books, and they're colorized and they're on really nice shiny paper. So it's very good. It's kind of heavy. But I would commend that to you. And in commending that to you, I would also commend to you that you should read the Narnia books in the order in which they were published, not in the order that HarperCollins puts on the numbers. So you start with The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, because that gets you into the world of Narnia, and it shows you the exciting. It's the best of the 7 books, so that's a good place to start. But also, it familiarizes you with the world, and then when you get later in the series, it does jump back in time. But this is the correct order to read them in. I will die on this hill. Okay, and I want to. What I want to talk about a little bit is to share one of the reasons that Christian fiction, can have value for us, and how it's a good thing when we can read those stories. And if you want to talk about the Narnia books and their legacy, C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien, they were friends. They didn't show that in the Tolkien movie that came out, but they were and influenced one another. And then from Narnia, we get into other places where the fantasy genre has been popular in recent years, whether it's the Lord of the Rings world, whether it's stuff like Game of Thrones, things along those lines. I don't want to say C.S. Lewis kind of started the fantasy genre, but I don't think it would be where it is today were it not for his writings, particularly in the Narnia series. And the reason that fiction like that is good and helpful is that story is a great way for us to teach and convey important truths. And it's not just me saying this. This is something that Jesus used in his teaching as well. So I'll give you an example. All right. Jesus could come out and say, forgiveness is good. And he'd be absolutely right. And it's true. And even to expound upon it and to explain it And to explain it in a different way wouldn't make it any more true, right? Because it's already true. Okay, so Jesus can say forgiveness is good. Sorry, I got to turn this off. Now, here's what else Jesus could say. A man had 2 sons, and he loved them both. And one day, his youngest son came up to him and said, I hate you, and I wish you were dead, and so give me my inheritance that is owed me. And so the man hears this from his beloved son, and he cries, and he can't get over it. But he respects his son's wishes, and he gives him the money, and he leaves, and he goes off to a different land, an ungodly land, and wastes his father's inheritance, the money that he spent his lifetime earning, and that he looked forward to passing on to his sons so that he continue to bless them and to bless future generations, and he spent it all on awful things. And then he got to the point where he was out of money, and he had nowhere to go and nothing to do, and he's hanging out with pigs, which are unclean. And he says, I did the wrong thing here. And so I'm going to go back, I'm going to talk to my dad, and I'm going to say, look, I know I messed up. Just hire me, like one of your, give me a Joe job, and I'll work for you in the fields, I'll do whatever. And so he goes back, and his father looks and sees off in the distance. He sees that somebody's coming down the road, and he immediately recognizes that it's his son. And so he runs out. Men don't run often, right? He runs out to greet his son, and he puts a hug on his neck, and he says, "You're back. You're here now." And the son said, "Look, I messed up. Please just give me a job. I'll work for you." And his father says, "We're not having that." And they throw a big party, and he puts a cloak on his back, and he puts shoes on his feet, and he puts a ring on his hand. That's like giving him back the company credit card, right? And says, "My son who was lost is now found, and so we're going to celebrate." Now, when I said forgiveness is good, true. But when I tell the story in that way, it has a profound impact upon us because it influences our minds, yes, but it influences our hearts. And it shows us and illustrates to us just how deep and wide and enduring the love of God is in our lives, right? You see the difference? So, story, whether it be fiction, whether it be in other ways, Jesus, a parable is the device that Jesus would employ. But the Narnia books are kind of a parable also, right? And so, let me just share with you a section from the book here. So, forgiveness is good, right? And so we know the story from Narnia. Spoiler alert. We know the story from Narnia. Edmund is the rebellious one of the Pevensey kids, and he falls in with the White Witch, and she uses him to betray them, and all these things happen. And then we have this scene in the book where Edmund has returned, and I'll pick it up here. Here. Their brother had been rescued and brought into camp late last night and was at that moment with Aslan. As soon as they had breakfast, this is the other 3 kids, they all went out, and there they saw Aslan and Edmund walking together in the dewy grass apart from the rest of the court. There is no need to tell you, and no one has ever heard what Aslan was saying, but it was a conversation which Edmund will never forget. As the others drew nearer, Aslan turned to meet them, bringing Edmund with him. "Here is your brother," he said, "and there is no need to talk to him about what is past." Edmund shook hands with each of the others and said to each of them in turn, "I'm sorry." And everyone said, "That's all right." And then everyone wanted very hard to say something which would make it quite clear that they were all friends with him again, something ordinary and natural. And of course, no one could think of anything in the world to say now. Forgiveness is good. And then we have the way it's told in the story. See, has a profound effect on all of us. And so, like I said, this new edition of this, or new to me, whatever, but it has the original illustrations and they're colored in, and really, really neat. And so I would commend these to you. I would say to those of you who are parents, children love being read to, and so reading, bedtime reading, whatever, the Chronicles of Narnia. That would be a great practice. That'd be a great thing for you to do. Give them the gift of the books, and then read them with them and experience the magic and the wonder of Narnia, and share that with them. I just saw this. I didn't know this, but and I think I had heard this, but I was reminded. Netflix has bought the rights to make movies and TV shows. Like, they don't know yet what they're going to do. They've been sitting on it for a couple of years now, but they paid something like $250 million for the rights to make more Narnia content. And so I look forward to that in the future, because it is a dream world of magic, and something that we can all enjoy. So that's the Narnia books. I did also want to share with you, though, I mentioned C.S. Lewis and his nonfiction work, which has also had a profound effect on me. And I think probably the biggest one of that is Mere Christianity. And this is the copy of it that I've had since college, and I've got it, highlighted and marked up and all that kind of stuff. But just to kind of end our time today, I think what I'd like to do is read just the last paragraph of this. I don't know if there might be rights issues. I don't know if I'm supposed to do this, but just the last paragraph here in Mere Christianity. But there must be a real giving up of the self. You must throw it away, blindly, so to speak. Christ will indeed give you a real personality, but you must not go to him for the sake of that. As long as your own personality is what you are bothering about, you are not going to him at all. This very first step is to try to forgive about the self altogether. Your real new self, which is Christ's and also yours, and yours just because it is his, will not come as long as you are looking for it. It will come when you are looking for him. Does that sound strange? The same principle holds, for more everyday matters. Even in social life, you will never make a good impression on other people until you stop thinking about what sort of impression you are making. Even in literature and art, no man who bothers about originality will ever be original. Whereas if you simply try to tell the truth, without caring tuppence how often it has been told before you, you will, 9 times out of 10, become original without ever having noticed it. The principle runs through all life from top to bottom. Give up yourself, and you will find your real self. Lose your life, and you will save it. Submit to death of your ambitions and favorite wishes every day, and death of your whole body in the end. Submit with every fiber of your being, and you will find eternal life. Keep back nothing. Nothing that you have not given away will ever really be yours. Nothing in you that has not died will ever be raised from the dead. Look for yourself, and you will find in the long run only hatred, loneliness, despair, rage, ruin, and decay. But look for Christ, and you will find him. And with him, everything else is thrown in. Isn't that great? And so that's just the last page of Mere Christianity. I commend the whole thing to you. One of my favorite writings, certainly. And it illustrates just that the upside down nature of the kingdom of God. Whoever is last will be first, and all that stuff. And so C.S. Lewis continues to be a profound influence upon me and upon the millions of Christians all over the place. Hopefully Netflix will do a good job with the Narnia content when they get a hold of it, and hopefully those lessons can continue to show God's love and can continue to show Jesus for generations to come. That's about all I got for you this week. As I mentioned earlier, we do have worship this weekend, so look forward to seeing y'all on Sunday. Follow me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Don't follow me in real life. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Go ahead and ring that bell so you get the notifications. Stay frosty, and I'll see you next time.